Hello, good afternoon, happy Friday. Welcome to Deep Dive. Let me hide this and move the chats to where I can see them. Don't need that right now. All right. Did I get the chats? Yeah, those are on there. Like they're the right size. There we go. All right. Yes. Hello and welcome. For anyone who is new, this is Deep Dive, which is weekly live stream where we get into the nitty-gritty of CircuitPython. This is a live stream that was started by Scott Shawcroft, the lead developer of CircuitPython. So it is quite technical in nature. If you are looking to get into some code, then you are in the right spot. If you are new and don't know what CircuitPython is, you can learn more about it at the main website for the project, circuitpython.org. It is basically a version of Python that runs on tiny computers called microcontrollers. Typically, the way this works, you plug them into your computer and they show up like a thumb drive. You can edit a Python code file on that thumb drive. And then when you save it, the microcontroller, the computer that's on the chip on the little device, will actually execute the Python code for you. CircuitPython is just one way that you can program these microcontroller devices, but it is the way that we work on here on this stream. Today, as you can see, I pulled up here, we are working on one of the Fruit Jam prototype devices. It has been on hold for a little bit because unfortunately, some things happened in the US with tariffs, which made the business a bit more complex and required a bunch of focus from Lady Ada and the people who work on advancing the hardware. So this kind of took a back seat for a bit while they solved problems related to turbulence in the world. But it is starting to smooth out a bit, so there's starting to be a bit more time for this, and it's coming back around again, which is good news. So I am here today to work on the Fruit Jam library. We're going to write some helpers that will initialize various bits of the hardware for you. What's up, Tyeth? This is an upcoming device. It's not released yet, but like I said, it was kind of on hold for a bit, but it is sort of back in motion again. So there is no, as far as I'm aware, there's no kind of official release date or anything like that, but it is once again back in motion. So with any luck, it will be coming sometime soon, TM. With that mentioned, as always, we'll say thanks to Adafruit. If you want to help support CircuitPython, one of the easiest ways to do it is by purchasing hardware from Adafruit. Adafruit is a hardware and software company based out of New York. They design and manufacture hardware such as the upcoming Fruit Jam device, as well as many others. They make CircuitPython possible by paying the team of folks, including Scott, the one who started this stream, and myself to work on CircuitPython. So huge thanks to them for doing that. And again, if you want to help support CircuitPython, one of the easiest ways to do so is purchase hardware from them, which you can do at their website, adafruit.com. Okay, so we're going to dive in to Fruit Jam library today, which I should have opened up a tab for, but I got partway there. Okay, Fruit Jam. So this is a library that will essentially be a bit of a helper for the Fruit Jam. It will kind of initialize the built-in hardware. It will contain some functions which make it easy to work on your project. Right out of the gate, just kind of import this, maybe initialize it, and then you're good to go. You don't have to worry about, each piece of hardware independently. Did I say what's up, Tyeth? I don't remember. Anyway, though, if not, what's up, Tyeth? And yes, happy Friday to you. Currently, this library, I did create it about a month or so ago when I was working on the Fruit Jam OS and the editor and the boot animation, kind of all of the stuff that I was doing in Fruit Jam world. Around that time, I created this library, but really the only thing that is in it right now is this request display config, which will reinitialize the display at a different size if it's not already initialized. Whatever size you request, it will check if it's at that size. If it's not, then it will release it and reinitialize it for you at the size you requested. So just kind of a helper to be able to swap to different screen resolutions, since there are a number of resolutions supported by the hardware. But what we're going to do is go through now and add more hardware stuff. What is up, Ms. Swift on YouTube? Happy Friday to you as well. Friday, I like it. Happy Friday. That's pretty dope. Let's go. Let me check something. Oh, okay, I think this is not. Yeah, okay. We don't need this necessarily. In fact, I'll close this so that we don't accidentally get anything popping up here that's not necessarily supposed to. All right, where am I at? Let's open Fruit Jam locally, which, yeah, that's going to be forever ago in this list. Boy, it'd be nice if we could have a file next to it. So let's just choose a random one of these and then go open. And that was even starting with F, which is convenient. It would be Fruit Jam right here, but it's not here. My guess is maybe it's in Cookie Cutter, Cookie Kitchen, where the cookies get made. Fruit Jam right there. Open that. And let me just get status. What are we looking at here? We're on main. We have Adafruit, get remote -v, get remote -v. We have Adafruit only. Let me make, yeah, it looks like I don't have this forked. Let's make a fork, because ultimately we'll PR the changes at the end. We can just merge it after that, because this is not really in use yet, as it is unreleased hardware. But this way we can at least kind of have a PR with history of everything. I will add that fork to my get right here, get remote, add foamy guy, that one, fetch it, even though there's nothing there yet. Get checkout, new branch of the, let's just say working on hardware. No track, although I don't think it matters the way I'm going to push. Okay. Okay, so we are basically taking inspiration here from all of the other sort of board helper libraries, right? Like the Funhouse library, for instance, which we do have to spell correctly if we would like to access. There's a whole, there's like all the PyPortal ones. I think those were kind of the original ones of these, or there's like, you know, Circuit Playground Express is another one where it's like a helper library that is for a specific piece of hardware and kind of initializes everything within that hardware. Lots of them follow this sort of loose structure here, where it's like peripherals, graphics, network. And we're going to do the same with this one. I'm going to take a look in Funhouse Peripherals. It does have a class Peripherals, so we are going to do that as well. Currently, we just have the one helper function, which we're going to keep, but we will also go and make class. I'm going to copy it because I don't trust my ability to spell that word correctly on the first try. It doesn't extend anything. Yeah. This has got a list of attributes, but it's not actually complete. Maybe we could copy this and update it as we go. Of course, that might have been the idea there as well. This is going to be for the Fruit Jam library. It will be neopixels. Those are neopixels on the Fruit Jam. Neopixels. The neopixels on the Fruit Jam board. Dot star, I guess we could neopixel. Make sure that resolves. Yeah. Anyway, so we could kind of do that one first. We should have a neopixel pin. Go to TO. I already have the Fruit Jam connected. I do have the screen pulled up. I don't know if we're gonna, ooh, that's very tiny. I don't know if we're gonna need the HDMI output. A lot of what we're gonna work on at first here is the physical hardware, right? The neopixels, the buttons, the audio. Boy, that's tough to get the corner of, isn't it? I just no, it does do any good. Oh, you know what? I think, do I have to use the top? I think I need to use the top left corner. Yeah, I thought I saw it there. Okay, there we go. So there's neopixel. Oh, interesting. I don't know what that does. Peripheral reset. We already have board. Do we need an init? Does this thing... Yeah, I guess we probably will need an init, right? Yeah, so we're actually going to be creating these things inside of init, which makes sense. Def init. We're not going to take anything of that. Maybe eventually we'll take something, I don't know, display size. We could set up the display size optionally, maybe. I don't know. We'll leave it blank for now, though. Self.neopixels. That will be... We can import from neopixel import. Is it like that? I don't actually know the top of my head there, the API. Yeah, looks like it. Okay, and then the pin and the number. So we have 5. Our 5 neopixels, and we know the pin. Is it? No, it would be, is it a capital P in the class as well? It is, okay. So that's going to be board dot neopixel. Is it was it singular or plural? It was singular. Yeah. And then there are 5 neopixels, so we'll do that. It does... Oh, I imported it this way, so we don't actually need this. And in fact, we can't have that because it doesn't know what it is. Okay. And then... Yeah, let's make sure that works before we really go any farther. So Fruit Jam, we're going to copy that to the device. Actually, it's probably already here. I'm going to delete it. That way we make sure we got a good copy with the updated stuff. We might as well start a simple test, which I don't know. Yeah, there is actually a simple test existing. We'll probably going to change this, honestly, because the simple test might not need to do the display stuff, honestly. Let's leave it for now and just make a peripherals test. Fruit Jam peripherals. Alright, so that is gonna import the... Well, actually, let's do one more thing before we test it, because the customary way for this to get used, if we go look at an example from Funhouse, which again is what we're basing this on, the way this gets used is import Funhouse and then create Funhouse. It's not like importing Funhouse peripheral. Peripherals, I think that one's plural. It's actually importing the base thing. So we want this to be where we're going to be able to import Fruit Jam, not peripherals. And the way that works is there is also a class Fruit Jam, which takes init, and then it will initialize the peripherals inside of there. We can find, if we look at Funhouse init, so that is going to import it, and it does have Funhouse. It's extending portal based. We might actually go back and do that, because the next revision of hardware actually does have a ESP32 something Wi-Fi coprocessor, which a lot of the stuff in Portal Base is for Wi-Fi coprocessor stuff. Not everything, but a lot of stuff. I'm going to leave it off for now, though, since we don't have that yet, and that is a lot of what portal base is for. We should still, though, be able to find, like, yeah, self.peripherals equals peripherals. Yeah, and then we're going to be able to go and say, like, funhouse.peripherals.neopixels. And if we wanted, we could actually cut out the peripherals layer, which I think we will. Self.peripherals equals peripherals. We import from there. With Portal Base, you get all the network helper stuff from Adafruit.io. Yeah, it depends on Nina firmware and Adafruit Airlift boards, which is being extended. Yep. And I don't have. I still have the oldest revision of the Fruit Jam hardware, so I don't have the Wi-Fi bit yet. So I'll wait until I get the new one, and then I'll start doing all the network stuff, including probably extending Portal Base here. So that's going to create peripherals. We can actually go and say we want a property of def neopixels, and then that could just return that. That way we can instantiate Fruit Jam and just say fruitjam.neopixels instead of having to say fruitjam.peripherals.neopixels. So we kind of cut out a layer there by having property. So let's take that. Delete this again. No, I didn't actually run the last one. Paste it. Can also finish writing the example from Adafruit Fruit Jam import Fruit Jam equals Fruit Jam, and then fruitjam.neopixels. We'll just say maybe fill for now with pink. There is a brightness, actually. Let's set the brightness. I don't know if it defaults to, like... I wonder if we should accept neopixel. I mean, you could always change the brightness after. In fact, maybe we should just set the brightness after we initialize it. Okay. I don't think we need this immediately right away, but we can have it because it'll come in handy later. What is in CodePy? This is a old example for something else. Fruit Jam. Incompatible MPY file, line 34. So I wonder, I think maybe the storage, my device might have got foobarred a bit. So line 34 is neopixel, pixel.mpy. Yeah, so that's 0 bytes. I believe that my flash might have got wrecked a little bit, because I have a couple of things here that are 0 bytes. Not entirely sure how that happened or when or why, but I'm going to delete them, and then we will just reinstall them. If I do this, will it work? I'm not sure. Frozen module stuff. Shift them to the root folder. I don't. Actually, I'm not sure if anything is frozen in or not to the Fruit Jam. I don't think so, because it's got like loads and loads of flash. So I don't think, but actually double check, because we would need to put it in the root if there is anything frozen in that we are modifying for sure. I never remember which file it is. I think it's this one, maybe. Yeah, it's definitely one of those two where the frozen stuff would be listed. So I don't think we have anything frozen. Okay. Yeah, that did actually. Well, it worked, except it didn't get neopixel. Unfortunate. Oh, maybe it's not realizing the new. Maybe it's not realizing the new one of these that we're editing, like that we're in the process of developing right now, makes it require neopixel. That's probably something it can't figure out. I don't think it's reading the code on the device. I guess circuit install. We'll just neopixel like that. 0 bytes. Gotta love fat. Yep. Okay. Should be better. Okay. I didn't start up the camera before. Let's do that real fast. IP 107. Okay. NeoPixel's on and pink. That part is good. There are also... Should we do the buttons? Yeah, I feel like we might as well do the buttons as well. Although there is a question of, like, should we initialize them as digital in out or like keypad style? I'm actually going to change this time.sleep just like 2 seconds and then turn them back off. That way when the program is done, they'll be off instead of on. I think auto reload is off, so I'll manually reset that. Yeah, there we go. Now they turn off at the end. So they were on for 2 seconds and then it turns off. So there are 3 buttons here. The SD card, I think we could try to initialize that. And the audio DAC. Well, let's start with buttons. Buttons are the easiest. And I think the Funhouse probably had buttons as well. Yeah. So that is initializing them as digital in out. We'll just do the same thing, honestly. I'm just going to edit the one on the device, and then I'll copy it back to the repo after. Hopefully we don't get any weird corruption like while I'm doing it. It'd be unfortunate. Did I jinx it by saying it out loud? All right, so we're going to need digital in out, direction, and pull. Digital IO import. What is up? Y'all know? Nice to see you today, my friend. I remember, I don't remember if it was last week or week before, but I remember you were asking about kind of like organizing projects with multiple files or multiple different projects launching between them and stuff like that. I have thought about it a bit more. I don't necessarily have a coherent thing to share yet, but one thing I will say is I am thinking we will ultimately do a learn guide for Fruit Jam OS, and in there I will break down the way that all the different components interact. So like the boot pie, the boot animation script, and the launcher, all 3 sort of interact together in various ways to be able to launch different apps or to like reset the device and launch into certain things. Anyway, though, that guide I think will be where a bunch of that information gets dumped out of my brain. We didn't get direction and pull. direction pull. Okay, so that's going to go through the pins. It's going to make it's calling them a switch. It's just copied actually from the digital I/O. Okay, yeah, that was last week. Nice. Okay. Ms. says, "Oh no's, attempted fate." Yeah, by mentioning it, I probably shouldn't have. I'll be looking forward to that. Nice. Yeah, I think that'll be good. So that's just gonna put them into buttons, and then presumably there will be cap touch. Presumably there will be like okay. So there's basically yeah. So there's basically a property for each button that gets the current value, and then there's also an any buttons pressed. Basically, we'll just check all the rest of the buttons for true. Okay. Ours are not up, down, select, but we do have 3 of them, and we can just change the names. They are, I think, if I recall right, they're just numbered, like 0, 1, 2, or 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Which is most likely what they are on here as well. Button 1, button 2, button 3. Yeah. Three. So they're button 1 pressed. Button 2 is pressed. Other button 3 is pressed. That's getting 0, 1, and 2 out of buttons, which is good. And then any buttons should just work the same, I think, right? It's iterating over underscore buttons. Yeah, I think that should just work the same. All right, these are wrong though. That's button 1, 2, 3. Okay. To test this, let's say colors is a list. We'll say pink, yellow, green. Oh, another. Well, do we want those to stay on peripherals? Okay. Maybe this is worth a short detour. You know what would be cool is if there was a way in Fruit Jam class to just say, I want all the properties of the peripherals class to pretend that they are on the Fruit Jam class also, without having to duplicate all of them, right? Because we could go property button 1, property button 2, property button 3, property all buttons, and like all of these could essentially do like forward it through to peripherals, but there must be a dynamic way to do that, I bet, right? Python, it's like implement or copy, implement all, copy, extend. I don't really want to change their behavior. In fact, I really just want to call straight through to them. Can I say like copy properties from... See, we're not extending it either though, right? It's like it's an object that we have. Is there just like Python dynamic properties? Maybe that's a thing. I suppose I should expand. You can add a property class, but there's a catch. You have to add it to the class. Parent superclass. Kind of like parent and superclass, but we're not actually gonna extend it. So not technically the same. But basically I have a self.peripherals. I have an instance of peripherals on Fruit Jam, and I want to make it so that whenever you access a property of Fruit Jam, if that property exists on peripherals, it will just like forward it through for you. So if you access fruitjam.neopixels, it will automatically use self.peripherals.neopixels without having to copy this for all of them. What's up, Mark Gambler? Nice to see you today, my friend. You don't need to use a property set adder. So this is like making a property with lambda. You have to add it to the class. Class foo, create an instance. Foo.a is 3. Foo.b, oh, capital F. Foo.b. Well, that's just declaring it in a different syntax, though. I don't necessarily want to do that. I want to. Can you like? Is there like a string property accessor? Like when you access a property, where's the rest of the results? A dynamic method into a property. Get adder. Maybe get adder is the example, because not is the example, is the answer. Couldn't we override get adder? That says whenever we're getting the name, and then we could say if the name is in self.perf, we could say dir, then return. Oh, I didn't know you could pass that in. Interesting. Object. Oh, no, I did know that. Right, because get adder. Yeah. Okay, I'm caught up. Yeah. I mean, that seems like it should work, actually, right? Did not crash. The pink is on. Pink is off. Okay, I think that worked. Because our code is still accessing neopixels. And so that went through. Which means we should now be able to do the buttons as well. So let's go back to this. So I got 3 colors. We'll do the pink on. We'll do the pink off. And then in here, we'll say if fruit jam dot button 1. Did I do underscores? I should go back and take the underscores out because this is just button 1, no underscore. Pretty sure I did underscores. Yeah, let's get rid of those. Save that. All right, button 1. So if button 1, that's intrinsically going to check the value. So that's, I think, going to be true if it's pressed. Not positive if that's the case or not, but I think. So in that case, we will do that. And then we'll just check each button the same way. Use a different color for each one. Okay, so if we press, yeah, each button should change the lights to a different color. Everything works. It should turn off after 2 seconds, though, I thought. So maybe those are actually true already. Except for if they were true, they would probably all be true. And wouldn't we then just end on this one. But there's also no like sleep here, so maybe it's going like really, really fast. Let's make a little sleep. Oh, this is like stuck. Oh. Interesting. Okay, I don't know. Let's put a print in here so we can tell if it was true or not. Maybe these need to be checking for false. Or maybe the other thing could be my pull is wrong on when we initialize these. Like factory generated class, like it supports XYZ interfaces, but it relies on the concrete interface class implementations. Do you also need a fallback? Do you also need a fallback to do any defined at the Fruit Jam class level, like getAdder will only support? Oh, yeah. So we'll add them. I will add them. So essentially, what we'll do is like as we so peripherals is one thing. We're gonna eventually add network. We're gonna eventually maybe add graphics. I think was the other one inside Fruit Jam. So we could just add extra if statement. If name is in self.graphics, then call graphics getAdder. If name is in self. The other one, call that one. So we can kind of add to here. And then any that are on the top level, we could also handle if we need to, although there might not actually be any, honestly. This one, the only thing that's at the top level is enter light sleep. Which I'm not sure if we really need. The Fruit Jam, I mean, the Funhouse is kind of like a sensor IoT thing. A lot of the projects were like take a sensor reading and then sleep and then wake up and take another sensor reading, which I think is where this came from. The Fruit Jam is a lot more like once it's on, it kind of stays on. You don't really sleep it necessarily. I don't know. Maybe we end up adding it if that turns into be a thing. Maybe you want like a power down mode or something. But yeah, anything that we add at the Fruit Jam level, we would also end up needing to do that with. And portal base as well, actually. I don't know. This may end up being a terrible idea. It's possible this is not a good idea. I'm going to continue feeling it out to see if we run into any obvious drawbacks of it. Okay, yeah, so totally it thinks button 1 is pressed. What's weird to me is that it thinks only button 1 is pressed. I would think that it would think that they are all pressed. It thought any of them were pressed. That's really weird. I guess probably the pull needs to go the other way. So that would be pulling down and then... Well, I mean, we could try pushing the buttons also and see what happens. Alright, so this is what? That's button 3. Let's push that. Okay, it doesn't do anything. I do need to hold it for at least 1/10 of a second. So we have that time.sleep, but it's not doing anything. Still saying that it's pressed. Don't think it will change anything if I press on 1, although it's kind of hard to tell if it stopped printing. Maybe something around abstract base classes and abstract methods. There could be something, yeah, there could be something to that probably. There might be something there that we could use. I don't know all of the Pythonisms well enough. Python can do a lot of crazy dynamic stuff. I do know that. My best guess is these are need to be pulled the other way, I guess. So we'll say pull up and then I don't know, maybe we would want to invert the value of this because now false is going to be tied to ground, which would be presumably when the actual button is being pressed. So let's do not, that way if the digital in out value is false, then we return true from button 1, because that's supposed to be whether it's pressed or not, just straight up. So let's do that. So there is 2 seconds and then sleep. Okay, that's a better start already. So if I press a button, nice, there we go. Yeah, press button 3 and we got green lights. Press button 2, we got yellow lights. Press button 1, we got pink lights. Okay, so those are all working now. Yeah, and again, I have to hold it down for 1/10 of a second, but that's because of the sleep that we added here. We could get rid of that, it would go faster. Would react quicker, I mean. Okay. As in implementing an abstract method on your subclass, implementing an abstract method on the subclass for your Fruit Jam code to access an abstract method. Let me look up Python abstract method. Abstract. Is that just an interface, like where it defines a method name but not the body? Python abstraction is a key concept that focuses on hiding. Abstract methods. These methods are declared within an abstract class, but without implementation. What is up on YouTube? My apologies if I don't pronounce your name correctly. Yushash Chandra? Nice to see you, though, hanging out on the YouTube there. Thanks for tuning in. So that is still extending, which I don't necessarily want Fruit Jam to extend peripherals. Not for like a specific reason that I think it would be bad, but mostly just because like Funhouse and the other examples don't. Now, could be room for a wider discussion about would it make more sense to structure it such that the main one does extend the sort of like sub ones. Like Fruit Jam could extend peripherals. Would that be weird? I don't know. But that looks like what this is involved in, though, right? Because this is always extending the class. Abstract method example. I think I do want the implementation in peripherals too, though. Like, inside of peripherals is where it should have the buttons and where it should deal with any logic related to the buttons. In this case, the not. You know, there's not that much that it has to do, just invert the Boolean value. But we could imagine maybe with the DAC or with the SD card or something, there might be more stuff that it's going to try to do in there. And I do think all of that stuff should live inside of peripherals, but then kind of get made available. The code that makes it work should live inside peripherals, but the API should allow it to work from Fruit Jam. It is kind of a weird paradigm where implementation exists separated into their own smaller files, but then the API brings all the implementations together into one massive class. All right, what do we want to do next? We did the buttons. Let's do the DAC. For that, we can grab the boot animation stuff. Configure clocks. I'm not sure what would happen if we just didn't call this. We could try leaving it default. Okay. Interesting. I hadn't paid too much attention to this code before, but it's kind of interesting. So you initialize the DAC, you do some configuration with it, but then after that, you don't actually use the DAC object anymore. Instead, you go and get your audio bus IO, which can then do all kinds of stuff. I wonder if these are properties. Oh, they aren't, which is not necessarily ideal. Or at least the docs don't think they are. We'd have to check the core code to be 100% sure. So that does give us... Oh, but that was on the DAC anyway. Right, that was on the DAC. And that is just a function, right? So we're going to have we're going to have fruitjam.dac. So they'll be able to just call... Yeah, okay. Caught back up. I'm getting off. The way that this is like, so it's kind of interesting because you have the DAC, it's connected over I2C in order to like configure it and twiddle all of its knobs and stuff. But then to actually get sound out of it, you use the core APIs, I2S out. Okay. So we're going to initialize the DAC and the audio I2S out, but we will not have the WAV file. I'm going to copy it because it's there, but we won't end up having it. So let's go here. I'm going to say .dac. So get adder. Does it count as an adder if it's just self dot like this, or do I need to... Maybe we should... I think we should do it like this. Self dot underscore DAC. We can import that. Import. So then this will be that and that and that. We don't do the WAV file. And then we will do self dot. I'll do the same thing here where I'm going to do underscore audio bus IO. We can import. Oops. And then I'll make a property. Actually, we'll make two properties. DAC. Oop. I'm not going to type this right now, but it would be the TLV instance, basically TLV 320 or whatever. Return self.dac property audio. Yeah, okay. So now those should also get carried through to Fruit Jam because of our nifty little get adder thing there, which means we should be able to play an actual sound. I don't know if the sound is going to work all the way. So I have, well, actually, that's not plugged in right now. Okay. I have a speaker over here. But I don't know if the microphone's actually going to pick it up. I also have no idea how loud it's going to be if it does. So maybe fair warning that. I need a way to power it, actually. I need a thing I can plug it into. BRB, I'm going to get a way to plug it in, and then I'll be right back. Okay. Speaker should be powered. The 3.5mm jack is plugged in. Let's just say we can bring back the wave file. Might as well just do this for the test. So we can say wave file is that. We can create the wave file using the proper import, which is this one. Could go before the libraries. Actually, it should probably be in the A's. And then I think we go audio.play. Is that right? Audio.play wave, and then we can also go audio.isPlaying, or well, just playing actually. So let's do that before this loop starts. So let's say fruitjam.audio.play the wave, and let's say if fruitjam.audio.playing, so if it's not playing, so if the audio is over, then set the neopixels to red, or turn them back off. Let's turn them back off. We should still be able to press the buttons to change the colors while it's playing. But then after it ends, it should turn the neopixels off, I think. I don't hear... Oh, there it goes. Okay, it is playing. Okay, I think it really does not like this. I have no idea how well that came through or not. If it doesn't come through very well, my apologies. That's really the best we could do right now. It was very, very crackly, though. I'm pretty sure this might have been wrecking it, although I'm not 100% positive. I'm just going to save that and try this again. One thing is, we should get this sleep out of there. Okay, there we go. No, it's sounding really messed up. That's very odd to me because I just recorded video of the boot animation playing the actual boot animation and its jingle, and it was playing just fine. I'm gonna double check that the cables are seated good. It is playing though, so we definitely initialized it. So another thing that's being kind of weird is this is not reacting to me sometimes as fast as I'm thinking that it might. We do have the, I forgot we do have the display rolling though, so that's probably taking time to refresh the display. Actually, that could possibly be messing up the audio too. Is the audio coming through? Yeah, I should have asked before. Oh, that's interesting. Weird, that's kind of going crazy on us. And then we are kind of back in this state here where this is like not really Like, it eventually went, but I kind of slammed it a bunch of times, and it took several seconds. That is weird. I don't know where we would be losing that time to, really. Okay, one thing I'm gonna try is, like, blanking out the display. Maybe having the terminal up is causing trouble. Because that is one difference between the actual boot animation and what we have now, is the boot animation doesn't show the terminal, it shows, obviously, the animation. So, display is supervisor.runtime.display. And import that. It is almost time to wrap up as well. The hour went quick on us here, so if anyone has any last minute questions, comments, ideas, anything you want to share, now's a good time to do that. You hear it intermittently. Okay, I'll pull it up a little bit closer. I don't want to blow out the I don't want to blow out your guys' ears, but I'll pull it up a bit closer so you can hear it. I do have a noise gate, which is probably cutting part of it out. Yeah, let's see here, display. So let's just go display dot. I mean, we could set it to none. Is that what we should do? Let's just make an empty group. I think we could set it to none, but thanks for the stream. Yeah, for sure. Thanks for hanging out. Root group. While we are working through this last bit here as well, let me also say, if you want some more CircuitPython development related stuff, there you go. Could potentially hear it better that time. So it's like very crackly. I don't know what's going on with that though. That's very strange to me because, again, like I just recorded it playing the actual boot animation and it did just fine. In fact, we could try to make it run, I think. See what it does. No, we cannot. I think it doesn't run like that. We would need to basically launch it. Okay, let me reset it, and then it should run the boot animation, because it should go bootpy. Bootpy is going to launch boot animation, and then boot animation is going to launch CodePy, which will play the crackled version for us if it gets to it. But let's reset it, and then it should play the boot animation first. I think I actually added a sleep to the front of it as well. Yeah. Okay. Hopefully that wasn't way too loud. But yeah, when it ran with the animation, it's way cleaner. DK points out in the live stream broadcast on Discord there, garbage collection and display updates cause all kinds of crackling. Yes, that is true, especially if you do not have the absolute latest. There were a couple of fixes. There were a couple of fixes in some of the newer, like brand newer 10 alpha versions of CircuitPython, which made things a lot better, because the animation itself actually used to be like this, and is now a lot better because of some fixes in the core. It could be the garbage collector. Are we maybe this get adder thing is a bad idea? In fact, the more I think about it, yeah, I'm not going to try it right now because we are at time, pretty much. I'm not looking at the code on the device. I was like, what? Where did the stuff we did go? I'm not going to try it right this second because we are basically at time, but I'm wondering if this could, like, maybe this is creating a list or a tuple or something, which is getting garbage collected potentially. And because we're calling it 3 times, well, more than 3 times actually, because we're saying button 1, like every property is calling that, which is creating that list potentially, if that's actually what it is. Yeah, you might be onto something, honestly, DK. I think with the way we're doing getAtter, we might be creating that variable, which could be just filling up RAM, causing the GC to run over and over, since it's just getting thrown away right afterwards. Okay. That's probably the next thing I'll do, is try to validate that by getting, like, commenting out the getAtter thing, doing the copy-paste boilerplate version. I'll have to make a decision. If it turns out that the getAtter one actually does that, then we don't want to use it, obviously. But then the next question becomes, like, do I really want to even bother with, like, Fruit Jam dot whatever? Like, maybe we just make it to where it's peripherals instead. Coming out the 3. Yeah, we could do that, actually. That'd be a quick test. That's a good call. Something else is weird too, though, because this is, like, getting stuck. Like, I've controlled C a bunch of times now, and it's, like, stuck. But then eventually it goes. So it's like, I don't know. It's getting, something weird's going on. No. Still got all the crackly stuff in it. You know what it probably is? Maybe. We didn't have. I didn't do. I don't think I did any of the DAC. Did I do the DAC stuff? I did. Oh, okay. I was gonna say I didn't do this stuff, but that's not true. I did. I don't know. That is weird. That is super weird. So I'll have to try to, like, figure out what could be causing the difference. That's so weird to me. But anyway, thank you all for hanging out for the deep dive. Thanks to our friends on YouTube, Ms. Swift and Yushash Chandra. Again, apologies if I got the name wrong. Tyeth, Mark Gambler over on Discord, disabled the GC, DK says. Can we do that? I don't know if you can do that. As far as I'm aware, you can't do that. But maybe there's a way that I'm not aware of. I mean, like, the way that I know of to do that is essentially don't create any variables, and thus don't free any variables, and thus don't make it get called. But I don't think there's just, like, an off switch that I'm aware of. I will say as well, if you want some more CircuitPython stuff, I do stream over on my own channel on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. Central Time. So I will be over there in the morning tomorrow. I do normally work on CircuitPython related stuff. I will say tomorrow it will be a bit of a mixed bag, kind of. We're going to do some CircuitPython, but I am also working on integration between CircuitPython and a video game called Factorio. So we will be doing some Lua like Factorio mod code as well, interspersed with CircuitPython tomorrow over on my channel. If that sounds interesting, then you can head over there in the morning. I usually drop links in the live broadcast chat when I get started. Folks in the chat are saying gc.disabled. That's interesting. Okay, I had no idea that existed, so I will try that as well as I get back to this to see if that clears it up some. But I will bid you farewell for now. Thank you to everyone who watched along, and I will see you all later.